The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on this show belong solely to Let's Talk TCI Real Estate and not that of Keller Williams TCI or any of its affiliates. Any action you take upon the information provided on this show is strictly at your own risk, and Let's Talk TCI Real Estate guest or host will not be liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of the material. I am not an investment advisor, broker, or dealer. I know we've asked the question before, but just can you repeat yourself one more time for me? You don't have to go through the lengthy explanation, but just in short form, like I say, just a synopsis, just for the benefit of those who weren't seeing clearly the first time.
Okay, no problem. Well, the first part is the Real Estate Association, Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association, TCREA, as we all know them as, is a nonprofit organization that works together to assist buyers and sellers to facilitate their transaction. So it allows people to buy or sell properties through the association. It was founded back in 2000 with 6 brokers who got together to form a centralized database where people can buy or sell their properties, where all agents have access to every listing that is within the association to sell to other people.
Thank you. So how many companies are currently a part of the Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association?
Currently, we have 16 brokerages in the association, which comes up to, we have about 100 agents. Agencies, the numbers, some agencies have more or less, but altogether about 100 agents and 16 different brokerages.
Okay. And can you explain for the listening public what are some of the advantages of becoming a part of the Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association, of becoming a part of the association instead of doing business on your own?
Yes. Some of the advantages of being part of the association, aside from just selling real estate on your own, is that you have access to a database of listings that other people have for sale. So the person who, if you're in the association, you are able to sell other people's properties. So it gives you inventory to start with. So you don't have to start from scratch, even though you don't have your own listings to sell, but you are open to sell other people's listings. And you get regular training. We train, we have trainings almost every month on different aspects. So you get a full set of training being part of the association so that you are well equipped to go out there and do your job. You also have the support team of about 100 agents. So if you have any questions, or you can access information from seasoned agents that can assist you in getting to your means. And we also make sure that everybody have resources such as the cadastral maps and other resources that would assist you in doing your job.
Okay. And so for someone who is not currently a part of the association and would like to join the association, can you walk us through how that process works?
For any persons who is not in the association, if you are working if you're a brokerage and you want to be part of the association, the best thing to do is to contact our administrator, and she will take you through the process of the application and also give you the requirements that is needed to be a part of the association. Now, that's for brokerages. We do have a list of persons that can be part of the association. So the best thing to do is to contact the administrator and make sure that they will give you the application, but also have the guidelines and everything that is needed to apply. If you are someone who is interested in being an agent, the best way to do that is to contact a brokerage and apply through the brokerage, and the brokerage will send you through the application process with the association.
Okay. Thank you for that.
All of applications that comes through have to go through the brokers for a vote. So when an application comes through, you have to give us some time to get through the brokerage so that we can have all the brokers will vote on the new members, whether it's a new company or it's a new agent.
Okay, thank you so much. And so I will ask you, what is the role of the real estate agent? And as an association, how do you hold your members accountable to the professional standards that they have committed to uphold?
Well, first, the role of a real estate agent is to assist individuals who are interested in buying or selling a property. Their duties include, but is not limited to, educating their buyers and sellers on the local market, prices, and property values, and also to assist buyers and sellers with the process, because a lot of people don't really know the process it takes to buy or sell a home. So a real estate agent will basically be your guiding post through the process of buying a property. They will be your confidant. They will help you through the process, and they will teach you the market and how to study it and how to come up with the best price offer or the best selling price. In the association itself, we have a set of code of ethics and rules and regulations that all of our members must follow and abide by. Part of the application process is to read and sign an agreement. Sign a form where you agree to abide by the rules. Failure to do so results in fines, suspensions, and expulsion, which is set by the ethics committee, which is a committee formed within the association to deal with issues. So if anyone has a complaint, they would send it to the administrator, who would forward it to the ethics committee, and the ethics committee will take on that complaint and investigate, and will bring in the agent. So if anyone has anything that of a complaint, then the ethics committee would be the person to set the rules. So the association has a set of rules for people to follow, and agents know and study them and are expected to follow them.
Okay. Earlier, when we were talking about some of the advantages of being a part of the Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association, you spoke about training. Can you explain further about your training programs that you have within the association?
Well, when it comes down to training, we train agents on different aspects of the industry. So we have trainings for that teaches you about the government, the procedures, and also about real estate in itself. And we bring in presenters from different aspects of the industry to come in and have presentations to assist us on government policies, on the do's and don'ts, ethics, law procedures, and such. So we have a wide range of training for agents, and we try to put one on every month so that agents have about a year full every year of training that they go through, so that they know their market and they know how to best assist their customers.
And is this a mandatory training for all agents?
It's not. It's mandatory and not mandatory in the sense that we, as in the association, we also have a set of we have points. As to stay a current member of the association, you have to meet a certain number of points, and that can be done through meetings, trainings, open houses, and such. In which case, it is up to you if you want to participate. We do try to make sure that people do participate in the trainings, because it is very important to what you do. But it's up to you whether or not you participate, but you do have a number of points that you have to maintain, and trainings are part of those points. So it behooves you to make sure you participate in the training. But it's up to you, because there are people that do their own training within their companies and such. But the training with the association is an added feature, which is great for people to take part of, because and you get to be around other agents, so you get to share experiences and you get to speak and you get to be in a room where all of you are learning together and sharing ideas. So the trainings aren't mandatory, because there are no penalties if you do not take a training, but it is in your best interest to do so, because they're very informative and it helps us to keep current with what's happening in the government on the island and our industry as a whole.
Okay. So a question I'll also ask you, most times as real estate agents, you continue to tell people about the MLS. Customers, hey, check on MLS. What's the MLS number? Can you explain in further detail what is the MLS about and how does it work?
Okay, so the MLS, which stands for Multiple Listing System, is a web-based database where every piece of land or property that is for sale through an agent and the association is uploaded onto a system. So it allows people, everyone that has one, it comes into a central database. So all properties on the MLS can be viewed by agents on all of the islands. So you don't have to go through from agent to agent. You can choose just one agent, and that agent can assist you in buying a property within your guidelines, whether it's number of rooms, view, price range, or whatnot. But the MLS system, and also we have a system on there that your agent that you choose can add you to, which is the PCS, which is the public access system, where you can, everything that comes within your price range or in your category will come to you directly. So you will stay up to date with the information of what is moving in the association. So once you choose an agent, that agent can set you up on the system and you will stay updated, and you can work with that agent to make sure that you get all the information once you find a listing that you are interested in. So the MLS system is basically where we keep all of our inventory, and you can yourself can go view it on the front end, which is tacrea.com, or we can add you to our back end where you can get access to information as it comes. So that's why it's great to find an agent to work with, because that agent can guide you straight through.
Okay. What you said about using one agent is a very important piece of information, because we know that in some other countries you have to go to, and I mean, every individual agent or company just to view what listings they have available. But with this MLS system, you can select, like you've said before, one specific agent and work along with that agent. And I also think it's an important thing to stress, because if I'm allowed just to put my real estate agent hat on for just a minute and not an interviewer hat, you find that sometimes you begin working with a customer and they actually start going to other agents. And so you have two agents working on your behalf, and then it becomes a very difficult situation, even between agents, because we realize that we're working together for the common goal of helping you find the property.
Yes.
And we don't
And
want, go
at
ahead.
the end of the day, only one agent can put in an offer for you. So you're like the other agent, you can only, at the end of the day, you have to go with one agent. So it's best to go in the beginning, because what you end up doing is wasting time trying to get from one thing to another, where an agent can get it faster for you if you just work with one.
Right,
Yeah.
because we all have access to the same information.
And we're showing you the same properties.
Yes. So yeah, so just also for clarification, it doesn't mean that you have to remain with one agent if you don't want to. However, while you are dealing with an agent, you stick with that agent. If you decide to move on to another agent, then move on completely and not be using multiple agents at the same time.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So yeah, so that's very important to know. And also, you spoke about the client PCS system. One good thing about that system is that it's in real time. So immediately when a property is added to the multiple listing system, you would be notified and give you a fair advantage to be able to put a bid in for a property because it's in real time
Yeah.
and there's not a delay.
Yes, definitely. That's a great thing. Even if your agent don't tell you, ask them to put you on the system, because if someone posts a listing at 11:01 p.m., the minute that listing goes up, it will come to you directly. And if you are interested, you can be the first to act on it, which makes a big difference to be the first to act on a listing.
Yes, it gives you an advantage of putting in an offer.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so just want to pause a minute. If you do have any questions, please send your questions through so we can acknowledge your questions and get those questions answered. Okay, so Rose, there are persons who choose to sell their properties on their own, and we refer to these persons as for sale by owners. What is the benefit of a vendor listing his or her property with a with a TCREA member?
Yes. There are people who feels that they can do better by selling with an agent, by selling without an agent. But selling with an agent gives you you get to the maximum. Sorry, you get the maximum exposure by having different agents viewing your property. So if you have your property listed with an agent, that property goes on our MLS system, and you get more people that are viewing your property as far as the public is concerned. But you also have 100 agents who are actively trying to sell your property. So you get the maximum exposure where you don't have to put in anything. The agents, they do their own advertising and marketing, and they would market and advertise your property on a regular. So you will always be in the forefront of people's minds when they're looking for properties, because someone is out there actively trying to sell your property for you. And also, a lot of people don't realize that by selling your property through an agent, you can benefit through selling your property at the correct market value. Because if you're selling it yourself, you might not be as educated and making sure that the property is that you're selling your property at the best market value. But an agent will do their homework and ensure that your property is sold at the correct value and that you get what is deserved of your property. So it is a great idea to have an agent instead of selling on your own. And a lot of people do figure it out after a while. They'll start selling on their own, and then a year and a half, 2 years later, they realize they can't, and then they go to an agent, and that agent sell the property in 6 months.
Yeah.
So it is of great advantage, because real estate agents, they do have the reach. And if they don't have the reach, being part of the association gives them that reach, because they do have other agents that have that reach that will make sure that that property is exposed to as many buyers as possible.
Correct. And also, like you said before, some agents do have a vast database, not just with persons who are looking that particular owner may not have themselves, because persons are always contacting the agents and
Yes.
saying to them, hey, if you know of anybody looking to sell, sell a particular price point, and that's where we're talking about the client PCS, then they will automatically be notified. So they have that database in the back just waiting for properties to present themselves on the market to help get them sold.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And also, like you were talking about with advertisement, when you're giving your property to another agent, remember, like you said previously, the agent will be responsible for the marketing. So you can take that headache off of you trying to figure out how you're going to promote your listing.
Yeah.
Let that be
Which,
the headache of the
and
agent.
it also takes a cost off of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, correct, yeah. And one more thing I would say about that, also it takes the stress out off of you for showing the property numerous times. You know, you can just relax, have your agent have access to the keys if it's a home or your condo, do all the showings on your behalf. You don't have to worry about rejuggling your schedule, just trying to accommodate to show a property because the agent is going to do all of that. And the agent is also going to guide you through the process smoothly and is also there for recommendation for you. You know, when it comes to the professionals, when it comes to, I mean, helping, getting your surveys completed for your closing date or doing anything of such. So that agent is very important because they are there from start to finish just to make sure the process is very smooth.
Yes, and they will make sure to keep up with the attorneys. And if you need anything done, even if it's making a phone call to a surveyor or making sure that the survey is done, making sure the markers are in place, just to facilitate and make sure that sale goes through smoothly. Whereas that's something that you would have to do, and you might not even know where to start to get something like that done. But an agent, that's their job, and they don't get paid unless the property is sold. So they will make sure that your property is exposed, and they will make sure that the sale is done. And if there's any conflicts or anything that comes in between, they will be the one to assist in making sure everything works smoothly and everything is ironed out to get the sale through.
Right. And also one last point I want to say is that even as agents, because agents are always um, like you said, you have a comprehensive training program where you invite other professionals to talk about certain aspects, government policies, etc. With this knowledge, the agent sometimes is able to inform you as a vendor as to what's going on with your property or your neighborhood. So, for example, when there was a resurveying of the area in the Shaw Club, there were some vendors who didn't know about it initially until agents had said to them, hey, are you aware that this is happening in your neighborhood? You know, so there's other things like that that agents get a hold of quickly and can help advise you on as a vendor as to how to deal with it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so they do have a wealth of knowledge to put forward for that person who is selling or even is buying a particular property.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So the real estate business depends heavily on the tourism industry. What have your association stats looked like since COVID-19?
Well, we had to cut everything short back in March with everything, but um, since the COVID-19, it interrupted our busy season where most of our buyers come in. But we were able to have motivated buyers and quick cash offers. And because the government has an incentive in the first 3 months of the pandemic, where there is a 50% reduction in the stamp duty. Due to that, we saw 56 closings in June alone, which it ranged from low-end properties to high-end properties. A lot of people took advantage of the 50% stamp duty and went ahead and bought or closed sales that were pending. And we also found that a lot of people who were in the considering age, considering whether they want to buy or not, are now buying because of motivated buyers and sellers who are looking to offload their property because of what they feel the economy is heading towards. So the COVID-19 hasn't really slowed down the industry as much as we were thinking it would. We're finding that a lot of people who were on the fence about buying are finding that now it's a great time to buy because people are looking more for selling now to offload their property and to have more cash flow on hand, given that, not everybody is working. So we're finding that the industry is not suffering as much with the pandemic for now, because we are still seeing sellers and buyers coming to the front to get their properties sold or what.
So yeah, so basically sales are moving forward.
Yeah,
It's looking
for
good
now.
for now.
For now.
Yeah, for now it is looking good for now,
Yeah.
right? Because you spoke about COVID-19. COVID has caught many off guard, and every organization is reaching out as best as they can to assist with those in need. Is there any such program that you are currently undertaking as an association? And if yes, what are some of the social activities um, on the Turks and Caicos real estate calendar as of recent?
Uh, well, okay. Since the association, since the pandemic started, the association has one of the main things that they did in May. The we have I told you about the ethics committee, but part of the association we have different committees, and that deals with different aspects of the association, and they're all volunteering committees, and it also adds up to the points that we spoke of. So as an agent, you are able to join one of these committees. One of those committees happens to be the social committee. The social committee puts together different initiatives in the community for outreach. So, and the most previous one that we've done is in May, where on behalf of the association, the social committee donated tablets with Flow SIM cards for data usage to the government schools for those kids that needed the technology for their online schooling.
Right.
Yeah, so we were able to go into the schools and we were able to donate and assist in getting those in. In the past few years, we've done a lot of different outreach to different schools. Like we had a reading program where our agents went into different schools to volunteer, and they read to the kids. I was one of those, and it was a rewarding experience where we went in and we chose books and we read to different children. We went to the different primary schools, and that was a great success. We've done, for the past few years, we've donated grocery bags to our senior citizens, where we get together a little bit before Christmas and we purchase a lot of different items and we put them together in bags and we deliver it to the community, to the different senior citizens that were in need. We also had a bingo night, which was awesome, where we did a bingo night at Danny Boy's, and our proceeds went to the Diabetic Association, where we assisted in getting the equipment that they needed. We've done school paintings, we've done island cleanups in cooperation with other organizations. And we've also participated in different initiatives by partnering with different people in the community. As of right now, we are working on a project to assist the community during the COVID period and moving on to right now. But we don't want to give out any details yet, but people will start seeing a little bit soon what we are planning on doing. But we're keeping it close wrap until everything is in place.
Well, that sounds good. Yes. And also another question I just want to talk about, because this was a COVID question also with COVID. What are some of the protocols that the association has put in place, as precautionary measures during this time of the pandemic for agents or for buyers and sellers?
As far as for working, as far as in the association themselves.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we've done a lot of different things since the COVID. One of those things is that we've moved all of our trainings. Every month we have a monthly meeting where all the agents participate. Yet for it also adds up to points and everything else. But every month we have a monthly meeting where everybody meets in the association's office, but we've moved that online. So we're now using an online platform to do all of our trainings, and all of our trainings and meetings. We've added protocols and guidelines to assist with social distancing and the different offices, and when it comes down to showings and such. And we've also added a live button to our listings online, where you, once you go on to Korea.com and you see a property, you will see a live button. And once you click that button, it will allow you, it will get you to schedule a showing with that agent, where they will virtually go in with you and show you the property. So people don't have to be present during the showing. We will go in and show you the property. There are also live. There are also 3D tours online, where you can literally walk through the property on the listing itself. So we've put in a few things in place to make sure that we are distancing ourselves. We're doing a lot of virtual showings, and we are making sure that with each other we are staying as far apart and wear our masks. And we've put guidelines in place, which has been sent to each brokerage to make sure that they are also following the correct procedures.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. And also, if I can stick a pin right there, I know also some of those guidelines includes where, for one, when we're doing showings, we encourage persons to drive in their own vehicles. That's
Yes.
one of the things we've been doing. Also, making sure that everyone is wearing a mask for safety. And some,
And
go ahead.
And I would say something that is not said often. It's not necessary to bring your kids to showings. So it would be best to leave the kids at home and make sure that only the persons making these decisions will go to showings, to keep the numbers as small as possible.
Right. Correct. And of course, all offices have hand sanitizers, and like you said, their protocol in place, which is
Yeah.
mandatory by Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association.
Yes, yes. If you want to go on a showing, you have to abide by our rules of having your mask on, especially when you're in other people's homes. And another thing too is no touching. So if you're in the house, we ensure that you don't touch anything. You can go through and you can see the house, but we do no touching. And one, two, maybe three persons, but no kids. Just the adults that are making the decision, and you to keep to yourself. So if you're going on a showing, just ensure that it's just you, because that's all you really need. But you don't, if you're someone who feels that you don't want to go in the house yourself, that is perfectly fine, because you can just contact us. We'll take you through Zoom, through WhatsApp, through FaceTime. It doesn't matter what platform you use. We will take you through the house. We will go in and we will show you the house on video.
So when you say no touching, so basically agents are going in the houses in advance, opening up all the necessary doors so that
Yes.
when the customer comes in, there's no reason for them to be touching doorknobs or anything as
No.
such. Everything is already opened up, ready for viewing, so that you don't have to worry about touching surface.
Yes. Yes. And if you go in the house and you see a nice spot, don't touch it. So it's just to keep your hands to yourself, because we're not trying to spread anything. And we make sure that all doors are open. If you want to see what the inside of something look like, you can ask to have it open. But we're trying to keep as much space between everyone in the house. Just protect you, and also to protect the owners of that house.
Correct. And also, even though Turks and Caicos Real Estate has its protocols, each individual agent will also consult with their owners of their properties just to make sure if they have any additional protocols that they expect buyers to adhere to, that we also would implement.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So we have one or two questions. One of the questions we have here is, um, are there any requirements a broker must meet to join the Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association?
Yes, there are a few requirements. One of them, the real estate. I'm not gonna list all of them. If you are interested and you want to be a broker, it's best to contact Simone Rigby. She is our administrator, and she would be able to assist you. But yes, to join the association, you first of all, it's on the reserve category, so it's belongers and such. And we have reserve. So if you're like an accountant or an architect, a lawyer, and I'm not sure of the other ones, but there are a list of persons because of specific personal interests that are not can be in the association unless they've left their field. If they've left the field that they're working in, then they can. But if not, then they cannot be an agent while simultaneously working as an architect or as a banker or insurance broker is one of them, because then we try, the association is everybody has the same advantage, and we try to make sure that everyone has a right playing field, and having people with those credentials would not really would have an unfair advantage.
Yeah. So you.
Everyone else. So we do make sure that those people, unless you are not in that field, you cannot be in the real estate association. I'm sure there are a couple more that I am not really versed on, but if you are interested in being a broker in the association, the best thing to do is to contact Simone and the association, and of course at the end I'll give you the number and the email address, and then she would send you the requirements of what you need to become a broker. There is a fee that you have to have. I think it's 5,000, but don't completely quote me on that. I think it's 5,000, but there's a fee to joining and everything else. But the best thing to do is to contact Simone, and she's very well versed on it, and she will take you through what you need.
Okay. And so another question was, if you would like to join the association, we did ask this question before. What is the procedure in a short summary?
You mean as far as an agent?
As far as a broker.
Oh, well, as far as a broker, you would need your application fee, make sure that you have the right status, and make sure that you are not within one of those industries that we do not take as membership from. So if you are interested in being in the association, you can go ahead and contact the association, and we will send you the guidelines of how to become a member. Okay. But yeah, basically.
Okay. One last question from the audience. Do you have any pre-qualifying questions for persons to ensure, for those who are requesting a showing, to ensure that they are not sick? So if someone, yeah.
That's a very good question. No, we don't have any pre-qualifications. Like we're actually now thinking of maybe the gun that they have for the temperature. But it's a matter of, we as agents, we know that you would like to see the property, but we would hope that you would try to protect yourself as much as all of us, that if you're not feeling well, that you wouldn't go out there to see a property. We don't have any specific guidelines, but us as agents, we do guide things. Even though we don't have a guideline to take you out on as far as protocols for the COVID is concerned, but we would ask you a few questions first. We don't really just take people out on showings without having few conversations with them and learning more about them and what they're looking for. You know, in which case, and during that time, we would ask you certain questions, you know, if you're not feeling well or whatnot. But us ourselves, we don't get in, like right now, we're not getting in the cars with anyone. So you would have to drive in your own car. We do not we do keep our 6 feet distance. So if you are someone who's not feeling well, we use our judgment to say how we're going to treat the situation. So right now we don't have anything that says that if how we make sure you're not sick or you're not coughing or you don't have a high fever. We don't have that yet. But we would hope that if you're not feeling well, that you wouldn't want to get up and go view properties and also expose yourself to us or the owners of those houses.
Okay. We are right at the time for 45 minutes, but so that was the last question from the audience. I do have one last question for you, and after this question, then I'm going to give you a minute just to wrap it up to give some encouraging words. But the last question I wanted to ask is, as president of the association, what are some of the challenges or obstacles your agents have been experiencing when putting a deal together?
All right. One of the main things I can say, which is it's one of my main obstacles, which I'm sure a lot of agents can attest to, is that with offers and buyers that are requesting for financing from the banks. Banks take a very long time to get to you as far as buying something, in which case a lot of the times we find that buyers lose properties to persons that have cash offer to hand because the bank take a very long time to get to you. So that's why we ask, if you are interested in buying a property and you know that you will be needing financing from the bank to purchase this property, the best thing to do is to go to the bank as soon as you realize that you want to buy a property. You go to the bank and you let them know how much you make. You get what we call the pre-approval stage, which means that you bring them your check stubs, you bring them everything you need to get that process out of the way, because that process itself takes about 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month, to make sure that you have all of your information in place. And I know that sometimes people have to wait for information and they have to wait for paycheck stubs. But it is best to go to the bank first to find that out, because one of our biggest obstacles is when it comes down to bank financing. As long as it's one of the public banks on island, whether it doesn't matter which one it is, they take a very long time, sometimes months. And when someone puts an offer on a property, that seller is taking that property off the market while that condition goes through where they get the financing, in which case they could attract a different buyer. And depending on how long it takes, sometimes, that property could have been purchased. And when the bank don't come out on time, then someone else can come in and buy that property. So that's one of my biggest obstacles. And because of that, I always tell everyone, before you even start looking, if you feel that you're interested in starting to invest and to buy home, land, or whatever, condo, make sure you go to the bank and find out how much you are interested, how much the bank is willing to lend you depending on your income. And then we can work within that price range. Because there's no point in going to look at properties at $500,000 when the bank is only going to lend you $300,000. Because then they will never finance something at that price range. So it's best to find out first, and then you come in, which shortens the time. Not as much, but it shortens the time, because sometimes we find that even after all that pre-approval, it takes forever, and you can lose a property because of it.
Okay. All right.
And another thing I have, which we spoke about too earlier, is finding a real estate agent. There is no reason for you to contact every agent on every listing that you see. If you have one agent that you're working with, that agent will work for you. That agent will contact the agent that is selling that property and make sure that you have all the information that you need. That agent will be following up for you. So it's best to just choose one, because what happens is when we find out that you're working with 2 or 3 of us, is that we've wasted time where we could have found you something to move forward with, and that time was spent talking to a few different agents. If you found an agent that you don't want to work with, find an agent that you like. I always say find someone you can talk to that you like, and that person can assist you. If you find that that person doesn't work, as long as you're still in the searching process, you can choose someone else. But make sure that you stay with that person, because that person, sometimes as agents, we have listings that are not on the MLS that are off market, and we can introduce you to those properties. So it's best to find an agent to work with instead of going from one agent to another agent, because at the end of the day, only one of them can serve you.
Great. So,
Okay.
in closing, Rose, so grateful that you came on the show. A few times you spoke about the administrator of the Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association, Simone. So I want you just to clarify and let people know, where is the office located for the Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association, and what is the contact information? How can people contact them?
Okay, so the Real Estate Association to Korea is located upstairs upstairs in the Salt Mills Plaza, where NHIP is. It's right upstairs, and it's open from 9 a.m. Right now, it's open until 2, but because of the pandemic. So it's best to call first if you need to go there to drop anything. But in general, it's open from 9 to 5:30. If you need to contact Simone Rigby, is our administrator, and you can contact her at to Korea at tciway.tc. So that's TCREA at tciway.tc. And the number for the association is 941-4419. If you have any questions, if you want to sell something, if you want to buy something, if you have any questions about the procedures or anything, Simone would be able to help you. She's very knowledgeable.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, if you do have any questions about the Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association, yes, Rose has given you all the information. Still, if you also, you can feel free to post it in the live feed right now, or even after, if you're watching it when it's not live, and we can get that information over to the Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association for you. But the Real Estate Association does have a website, and it is tcrea.com, right?
Yes.
And that's where you can take a look at all the properties that are listed for sale, as well as also reach the association.
Yeah, and you can also see all of our members on there. So if you don't know who you want to work with, maybe go and browse our 100 members and see if you know anyone.
Cool. So thanks again, Rose, for joining us today. Thank you for all the information about the Turks and Caicos Real Estate Association. I know a lot of people have heard about the association, but was not sure as to why it was established and what it is about. This conversation today, I think, is an eye-opener for those who wanted to know more about the association and what the association does. And
Yes.
I think it was also an eye-opener about, how it works, how agents work together, what's the benefit of the MLS system, what's the benefit of contacting a real estate agent versus trying to sell on your own. So it is a lot of information that is very important, and I thought you did a very good job of transmitting this information to everyone out there. So thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you for inviting us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And as always, I want to say to those who are listening, thank you for tuning in. I always appreciate you tuning in, liking, and sharing the show. And if for any reason you've missed it, it's always good to rewatch, or you can re-watch it on my YouTube channel, which is Vernica Delancey, at a later date. And I also want to say that next week's show, we will have someone on, and they are going to be talking about house insurance. So if that's something you are interested in, please log on, please tell someone about it, and come back next week as we talk about house insurance. Hurricane season is approaching, so I'm sure you may have some insurance questions that you may want to ask about insurance. So until next week, stay safe and remain blessed. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon.